Hello all. Cisco had a bad week, first with an actively exploited flaw in ISE, and then a switch and router boot loop due to a DNS bug. CISA went nostalgic on us and alerted to a PowerPoint flaw from 2009 for some reason. And a host of other vendors and issues made the news this week. So let's get to some details. This email and video commentary is from the RedDotSecurity.news website, which contains a plethora of links to other items not mentioned here that are worth skimming to see if they interest you or pertain to your particular environment or of those you support. There's a lot more than what's provided in these opening comments. So, on to the headline news. Cisco Identity Service Engine flaw in how XML is parsed in the web-based management interface of their ISE and ISE Passive Identity Connector. Successfully exploiting this defect could allow an attacker to read files from the underlying operating system. A patch is available to fix this flaw. Cisco also addressed multiple iOS XE vulnerabilities this week. Make sure you check your Cisco gear for updates. D-Link DSL gateway routers have a newly discovered command injection vulnerability. An unauthenticated attacker can execute remote commands, altering DNS configurations. There are at least 4 router models that are affected, although there could be more. All of the known affected units are end of life, and D-Link has said that they will not receive any support or updates. It's highly recommended that you immediately replace any EOL D-Link routers that you may have. GNU wget2 is a tool to download from the web via command line. It's been found that if a threat actor can convince a victim to access a specially crafted link, then GNU wget2 can write output to a file system location that are unintended. This could allow an attacker to replace vital system files and libraries with compromised or malicious versions. Now, no patch was available at the time of this publication, so keep checking. Open source workflow automation platform, N8N, has a maximum severity defect in both the on-premise and cloud-hosted versions that can result in remote code execution. Several additional defects were revealed this week that can also enable RCE. There is mitigation guidance for these defects if you're unable to update, but the most effective way to protect yourself or your users is to update to the latest patched versions. Trend Micro Apex Central web-based management console, on-premise, has a critical defect that can allow an unauthenticated threat actor remote code execution access. Trend Micro has released a patch version that fixes this defect along with 2 denial of service flaws. Proof of concept code is out in the wild already, so don't wait to patch this vulnerability. Veeam has released updates that are backup and replication software to fix multiple defects. All of them involve unwanted or undesired elevation of privileges. Users are urged to upgrade to the latest patched versions and follow the vendor's recommended security guidelines. Zoom for Windows has released an updated version to address a defect in how Zoom loads DLL files. In the unpatched version, the Zoom executable could be tricked into using a malicious DLL file instead of the legitimate one from Zoom. Update immediately to patch this vulnerability. Palo Alto Networks security intel boss calls AI agents 2026 biggest insider threat. In what I consider to be an excellent forward-thinking statement, Wendy Whitmore, Palo Alto Networks chief security intel officer, recently spoke with the Register about AI and what 2026 will bring. Understanding that AI agents are now being integrated into nearly every aspect of our infrastructures, she correctly warned that these largely unmonitored and oft misunderstood quasi-users are frequently given excessive permissions. Most organizations are ignorant of the power they're placing into the digital hands of an entity that has been demonstrated to be malleable in allegiance and intention, which is readily swayed based upon how and when it's asked to perform an action. This makes the agentic AI a very attractive target to attack. As we begin to employ these new workers, it's vital that we continue to put into practice zero trust and least access privilege. Anything more puts an organization at tremendous risk. Microsoft to enforce MFA for Microsoft 365 Admin Center sign-ins. About time! Why hasn't this already been enforced is what I'm left wondering. we've seen several years of massive account takeover happening in the M365 world. Now, this is a good first step that should have happened 5 years ago. An additional step needs to be enabling device-bound tokens across all of Microsoft's applications and infrastructure. If your login cannot be cloned and spoofed, much of the current account takeover attacks would immediately cease to exist. Is it just me, or are people becoming more helpless and demanding? In my day job, I manage a team of cybersecurity professionals that receive a large number of requests from organizations and people from all walks of life. But some of the requests show a total lack of initiative on the part of the requester. I'll often copy and paste the exact text of a request into a search engine, and the first result that comes up is usually correct. Why didn't the person who sent the request in do that? It would have saved them and my team time. Then there's the feeling that it's often an adversarial relationship, whereby my people are being blamed for causing an error or adverse software interaction on their workstation or network, as if we want to create problems for them. Most of my team is too young to remember the early days of computer support, when those of us that had a good grasp of how technology worked were almost venerated as minor deities. We were the heroes that would swoop in and save the day. I fondly recall one lady named Linda that always referred to me as resident genius. Nowadays, we fix an issue and the response is often, "Why wasn't this done sooner?" But, alas, whether the person has trouble spelling Google, or they're miffed and impatient, or genuinely grateful, I must remind myself and my team, and never forget, that we're here to help, to educate, to defend, to stand between the darkness and the light, and we must ever keep the shields up.